Hi guys, so I was not originally going to make this type of video, but seeing shit go down on stan Twitter and how it's aggravated me recently promoted me to do so. Anyways, these are my opinions on what I think is true and going on in K-pop in the community. You do not have to agree with anything I say, but if you go comment nasty things about me or any groups I mention, I'll go into bitch mode and delete your comment. Anyways, let's begin. Number 1. Hating on a group just because they're successful. A group is close to the level of your fave, and y'all can't take that, so you start hating them for it. I'm not saying everyone hates on a group because of their fame, but basically big groups start getting lots of hate because they become successful or close to the level of another group, so people start hating them just because they are successful. This can apply to any group, but I'm going to use BLACKPINK as an example because multiple hate tweets against them keep blowing up on Twitter and
y'all make me sick. Y'all make me sick.
Some of y'all toxic fans hate on BLACKPINK just because they are successful with barely any songs. What makes me really aggravated is how y'all will be silent on groups who don't write their music but slam BLACKPINK for it, even though there is a reason to why they don't, which y'all even know of. If you're a K-pop stan, you know of how shit YG is as a company and how poor their artists get treated, yet you forget about that and drag BLACKPINK for shit you know they can't control. As I mentioned, this can apply to many groups, especially Twice and BTS, but recently BLACKPINK has gotten a huge hate train for legit doing nothing. Anyways, any group you drag will remain successful, so stay mad. Number 2. The Western market will never fully accept K-pop. This is the only opinion here that I actually hope is wrong, but seeing how K-pop currently is in the West, I don't think it will be anytime soon. Basically, no matter how big BTS, BLACKPINK, and any other group gets, I just don't see the grand public accepting K-pop. I really want it to, but to me it's just not possible. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad BTS, BLACKPINK, and more groups are getting Western recognition, but it has gotten to a point where that's all some stans care about. Groups don't need to make it big in the Western market to make it big, nor are groups underrated if they don't have that recognition. If a group isn't known in the West, that does not make them flops nor not successful, so some of y'all need to stop acting like that matter. Number 3. You're embarrassing yourself if you don't know the second generation. I'm not saying you must like the second generation, but as a K-pop stan, you should at least know about it. If you claim to be a K-pop stan, but ask what song is playing while Tiffany is saying "listen boy," then that's just embarrassing. Honestly, the second generation has done so much for K-pop, but recently newer stans have ignored their impact and some stans have even dragged them. I mentioned this in an unpopular opinions video, but to me, you are a K-pop stan if you stan more than one group, or if you stan one group and know about others and things that have happened in K-pop. But if you only stan one group and only focus on them and nobody else, and don't even care to look into K-pop, then to me you're not a stan of K-pop, you're just a stan of that group. Number 4. Big 3 privilege does exist, but only to an extent. This has been a topic for debate for a long time on whether it exists or not, and honestly in my opinion it does exist, but only to an extent. What I mean by this is that some groups have privileges and popularity and having a successful comeback because of the company they're from, but for some other groups in the big 3 they don't, and especially to the solo artists. For example, SM solo artists don't do that well compared to SM groups, so there is where I would not scream big 3 privilege with that because clearly that's not working out for them. But some groups I also would not scream big 3 privilege. For example, Day 6. Though they are banned, they are under JYP, so you would expect them to as well as their other groups. But they just recently got their first win. Also, what really bugs me is how some people think that the only reason why ITZY won 9 awards for Dalla Dalla was because they're under JYP. Stray Kids got their first win earlier this year, and they're also under JYP. Maybe, just maybe, Korea really liked Dalla Dalla, so that's why it did so well. I will admit being under JYP definitely helped them, but I don't think it's right saying how they only won because of JYP. Number 5. Visuals are visual for a reason. Beauty is a subjective, so you don't have to think the visual of a group is the most beautiful. But what I constantly can't stand is people saying how they don't understand how one member is a visual of a group and another is not. Visuals are visuals because they fit Korea's beauty standard. For example, personally I don't find Chewie the most beautiful in Twice, but definitely agree she is the visual. I mainly have this opinion because I have constantly seen people say how they don't understand why Jisoo is the visual of BLACKPINK and not Jennie or Lisa, or how Yoona is the visual of ITZY and not Yeji. It's okay if you don't find the visual the most attractive, but saying they shouldn't be the visual in my opinion is just rude. I'm not saying you're calling them ugly, but saying they don't deserve a title of visual just because you don't think they're beautiful just aggravates me for some reason. Number 6. Current popular groups won't stay the most popular forever. As years progress, and newer generation groups gain more popularity, older groups will start to deteriorate in popularity. For example, 5 years ago Girls' Generation were the nation's girl group and one of the most popular, but then Twice came along and are now nation's girl group. SNSD are still popular and legends, but sadly not the most popular anymore. As much as I love BLACKPINK, Twice, BTS, and other popular groups, 5 years from now another group will most likely replace them and be more popular. Idols start doing solo work so less group comebacks happen, and for boy groups they all enlist in the military, and with groups not coming back as frequently as they used to, the grand public will move their main focus to a group that does. Trust me, I don't want any group to lose popularity, nor do I think they do. They just all will eventually be replaced from most popular, and there is nothing we can do about it. Okay, so that is all I have for now. Don't know if these were more unpopular K-pop opinions rather than hard to swallow pills, but I've already milked the shit out of the unpopular opinions trend, so I'm not gonna title it that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Okay, bye.
I see that I might see. I see that I might see. I see that I might see.